Okay, so the next thing we need to do is to get the clear coat on this, and for this I'm going to be using some Johnson's Clear. You could use a clear gloss, anything you like that. Now the reason we're doing this, as we said before, is to basically give it a nice base for the actual decals and everything else in the weathering to sit on. You know, the Alclad, lovely stuff, gives a great finish as you can see here, but unfortunately it doesn't like having things over the top, as we were saying. So what we do, take a nice soft brush in. This is where you have to be somewhat careful with your brushing. Just brush it on because you don't want it to pool up in too many areas. So we're just basically working it all over the entire model, and you want to put about 2 or 3 coats on really, because it'll build up a very nice glossy surface that hopefully it'll all nicely stick to. But what you do have to do is watch out for pooling on areas where it might wrap around just a little bit underneath and then hang upside down, and you get a little ball hanging upside down. So what you want to do is have a look in the light and see to make sure you've covered the entire area, and when you're happy you can move on. Just going to do the tops of the wings here for the moment. But say you do want a nice good quality soft brush to do this, because if you do it with a stiff brush you tend to leave sort of scratchy marks in it. Now this will self level, so you won't have to worry about it too much. But there again, this is one of those things that's going to show up any little imperfection or anything you might have, so you do have to be a little bit careful of it. So we just make our way down the sides and making sure we cover absolutely everywhere. And then we're going to leave this to dry overnight. This already had 1 coat already. This is the 2nd coat going on now. But we want it to nicely dry, a nice flat even coat. Now if you do get bubbles, perhaps what we're getting here, don't worry about them too much. They will just pop as this all dries in. So there we go. Let me just do down this side, and as I say, then we can let this dry overnight totally, and then we can come back then and we can get on. We just place it down very gently like that, and then we say we can come back and we can mask up then without having the risk of actually obviously losing the Alclad peeling and various bits and pieces like that. So there we go, we're just happy with those like that. So we'll leave that to one side. Okay, so as you can see, we've got it all unmasked now. We've got to touch up the black area, obviously, for the back of the cockpit panel here. The engine is all okay. There's not much overspray in there. There's a couple of little bits we're going to take care of. The engine has come detached from its mount, so we're going to have to remount that. Also, what I've done is, now that I'm happy with the location of how it's all going to be, this part here, obviously, where the actual frame for the panels that they bolt on, obviously to the front, just put those on, super glued in place, and then just a bit of normal glue on there to run in and weld that into place, and that holds that entire nose. So then when these covers come on, we should, in theory, like so, they'll fit on there very nicely and touch into the front area and pull in all okay. So that's that area all done. So next what we can do is mask up those individual panels, because we're okay and happy to mask on here because it's all dry, to pick out individual panels and just give them a slightly different shade of metal. So in this case we can just use the steels, the aluminiums and things like that, just to give them as they are in real life, the new ones. Best to check the references for that, but obviously we're going to pick out round here, this area around here, which has a different colour. There is a bar area on the wing that is going to have a different colour as well. But you can see it's really nice. It gives it that metal look. It looks like it's been foiled, not, you know, if you use any other type of metal finish, like an acrylic, it doesn't have that same pigment and luster, and as you can see, I hope you pick it up there, it's very reflective, very shiny. Okay, we're not mirror chrome finish, but as we said, we didn't really want that. If we wanted that, we would have polished the actual surface of the black first to get it completely flat, then we can get that type of chrome finish. We've got it in certain areas like the wing root where we sanded and filled it. That's giving it, it's almost like a chrome finish down in there. Okay, so what we're going to do is do the usual thing. We're going to spray the outside of the cockpit so it looks black from the inside. This is just flat black going on. because of the scale of the cockpit itself, we could literally spray the inside as well, mask it up. So there we go, that's that done, and we'll do the same for the windscreen. As you can see, I've got some tape. This is just the 40mm Tamiya tape, and we just put it onto the inside to stop any overspray going in. And also we want to do the bars. The other thing we've done, just masked up the rudder at the back. Plenty of tape around because we don't want to overspray, and we're just going to spray that flat black as well. Okay, I know it's all a bit messy here, but basically we're just going to unmask the main canopy and we can have a look to see how it is. So just peel this off like that. And there we go, that's the main canopy done. So obviously we've got the silver on the outside and it's nice and black all around the inside, just like that. Now if your canopy has got a few little scratches in it, little blemishes, whatever, what I would suggest is dunking the whole part just like that into clear, which is something that I'm going to do right now. So we'll do that, and we're going to do the same for the front screen as well, but we'll do that just in a moment. So if I've got a pot, I've just got an old thinner's pot basically, which is opened up, which is big enough so I can get the stuff actually in there. What we do, we take our Johnson's Clear, or your Future. Okay, we're going to literally tip generous amount so we completely can submerge it. Just like that. Then we're going to take some tweezers, or you can use clamps or whatever you're going to use. Okay, I'm going to hold this one at the rear. Actually, I'll hold it at the front, might be a little thing. So what you want to do is basically clean that all off first, make sure you're all blemish free. Got a couple of little fingerprints in there. So if I just grab a cloth. Alright, we just want to make sure we're all totally clean, because obviously, because we're going to put a clear coat over this, whatever is on the inside now will obviously be stuck to it. So we just polish that up a little bit. Just like that. So we're all happy, got our clear bath here. So all we're going to do, let's find a way of holding this better, just submerge in, completely in, pull out, let it drip. Okay, just a bit, completely all over, and then straight back in again. Okay, bring it back up, let it all drip off. That. Okay, then put it the right way round, and we just let it stand. Then your best thing to do that is to cover it up and go and leave that completely overnight to basically completely dry off. So we're just going to leave that completely like that for a couple of hours. Okay, so we've just masked up around this front area here, paying particular attention to covering the engine and those wing grids, because obviously you're only overspray. So we've got some normal olive drab green. In this case we're using Tamiya XF62. They're olive drab, and we're just going to do the anti-glare area. Just around like that. And there we go, we've done that one in there. Then we've done it in two sections, because what we've got is obviously we've got decals on this particular case which are going to go down further down. So we're checking up against our references to where they're going to go to, and then we'll just mask this area from a continuation from this side going on onto here, and then so then the decals will butt right up to it without having to go on. The reason is we don't want to do this entire top area with the olive drab, otherwise with the decals wrapping around it you're going to be able to see the difference, because obviously with silver on one side and then the dark area you're going to get different colours of yellow, which is the bleed through from this olive drab coming through. Okay, so one of the next areas we're going to be doing now is the actual undercarriage. Now the thing is, you do get a spring, it can work, all the rest of it. if you're very clever. From the point of view of strength and things like that, I don't think it's going to be particularly strong. So if you're going to be moving it around and things like that, like this one will be, I've actually elected to make this one piece and glue it all together hard. Now the reason for doing that is literally I was a bit concerned. Obviously you have a spring in this top area here, and then obviously it allows it to work, but the thing is it puts a lot of weight on this little area here, so if you've got little sideways movements and things like that, it's going to work its way back down. That's quite nice. Then obviously you've got two halves, which is your hub, which is going to go in, which goes on basically just like that, and then you have a little nut which goes on the outside, which is then going to drop on the top, something like that, and then a drop of glue puts it in and it will rotate. You know, it's this thing where the gear's rotating. I'm not going to allow it to rotate particularly well, but obviously we want it because the tyres themselves are these rubber ones, and they do have a little flat spot built into them, which is very hard to see, but it is there, a nice little bulge. So obviously you want that at the bottom, so I'm going to put that nut, will go on last when it's all together, sit in, so we can put it right, drop of super glue, pop the nut on, and then hopefully it will allow it to move a little bit whilst we're setting it all up. But it's pretty straightforward if you're going to do it. Just take your time with your left and right. You do get extra parts in there because obviously the way they mould them on the actual sheet itself here is your left and right and various bits and pieces like that, so they've just duplicated it up. So just watch your numbers when you're doing it, so take your time, you'll be okay like that. Basically once that's on, that's going to sit on there just like that. Then this one, as we've done over here, the door goes to the outside. You have got just enough clearance to be able to get the wheel on without it. So what we're going to do is be able to pop it on, put the nut on there so it can freewheel a little bit, and then basically we can get it all sprayed up silver. And then obviously on the outside I've already sprayed it, it's done quite the chrome silver. On the inside we're going to use a bit of dull aluminium because they're a lot duller. Same, we'll use dull aluminium on the racks as well, which are fuel tanks or the bomb racks. I like that, they're on sticks all ready to go. And I've done the teardrop drop tanks as well, they're all ready to be sprayed. So that's another little job for the chrome that we'll have to get going. Okay, so the next thing up is the propeller blades. They just fit nicely into here, snug fit, saves having to hold them any other way. So we've just got normal XF1 flat black. So we can just spray the prop blades. This is neat, straight from the bottle. Nothing exciting, it's not thinned with thinners in any way. The reason for this, you get a very nice flat, dead flat finish to the blades. And then when you put on a coat, as we'll do in a moment, of clear over the top, you get a nice satin effect. And obviously when you're spraying black neat, you can do it in one pass very, very quickly. Do the leading edges as well and the trailing edges of the blades. So basically just in like that. And around the back. The insides. And there we go, prop all done. We can let that dry, then we can take them off, and then we can either mask up to tip the yellow tips on there, or you can dunk, whichever way you want to do it. Personally I'm going to put a little bit of tape on and we'll mask them and do them like that. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is going to do the tips on the blades. So obviously we've masked them up, 2mm on the end of each one. And then obviously for the nose, the way it is, because it's got the bands of colour, the easiest one is obviously we're going to do them about 6mm apart. So that means this entire front area of the cone is going to be yellow, and that'll be fine, it can stay. And then we'll spray all of this yellow and mask off the two bands, the one band in the middle which is going to stay yellow, and the rest are going to be black. So it's easier to do it that way, and I'll show you how to do that with some jammy tape afterwards. At the same time also we've masked up the tail, obviously this particular one, because obviously with the black it's got black writing, so what they did on it, they actually did this area, the rudder, yellow, so obviously then the writing stands out. So obviously that's aircraft specific, so obviously you check your references, exactly what it is. Up we come, Tamiya XF3. What we're going to do is going to be like a two-part thing this. We're just going to do a drop, neat, usual. high air pressure. Reason doing it neat, obviously you don't get any bleed through, which is the major thing. The yellow coming through. 1, 2. Obviously because of the scale you're going to have to do the edges as well. If you're doing a little blade you probably won't have to worry about it. Pop it over to one side to dry. Same with the others. So we're just doing these. This is the yellow, which is the XF3 Tamiya yellow. There's 2. 3. Obviously with the tips you could weather them. They don't always very neat yellow tips on them. Obviously they wear down if you're going to heavily weather. This one's going to be very nice, medium type of finish to high gloss, and obviously it'll be kept very nice, so we do it like that. Okay, that's the end of that. What I'm going to do now, I've got here this orangey colour that I've made up. I did it some time ago. Let me just turn the compressor off. So all we're going to do to make this a little bit more of an orangey than yellow, as you can see on the decals here, they might be showing up on the camera as yellow. They're slight off, a slight orange. I just want to blend it all in a bit. And if I can get the lid off this paint, which is a bit tight. Quick little tip, if you can't get the top off your yellow paint, or any colour paint even, all you do, stand it upside down in boiling water, not totally boiling, about 90 degrees C, and it will melt or soften up the hardened paint at the top. And it will just help it go round. And as you can see, I've got this lovely colour here that I made up, as I say, some time ago, which is actually a mixture of yellow and clear gloss red. So what I want to do, I've obviously got my colour cup with a little bit on the go here. We're just going to take one drop, just like that, into there and give it a mix, and then with any luck it's going to take it from being a bright yellow, give that a nice good mix like that. So if I just do a little test spray here, obviously you can see probably down here the yellow. Let's keep the pressure high and hopefully you'll see it come through as an orangey colour. And there we go. So you can see the difference between the orangey, got the orange colour here and there. That's the type of colour we're after. So there we go, all we're going to do is just going to blow in this little tail. One side there. And 2. And there we go, we get that nice sort of orangey yellow. Just like that. So we'll leave that to one side to dry, and then obviously we'll do the area around the front here. Remember to do the back of the ring as well, because obviously you'll probably see that if you've got panels exposed. There we go, that's that one done just like that. So we just pop that over there. And obviously we can do the nose. Okay, so the next big thing we've got to crack on with then is the actual decaling of the model. Now there's a correction type sheet that's gone in here, I've noticed, which has different size for the American insignia, things like that. Obviously check your references, your various bits and pieces before committing to any particular type. Usual thing, we just got some warm water just out of shot, just down in front of the camera. There's a full tutorial on actually decaling on the site, so I'm not going to sit you down and bore you to death with me doing this. Needless to say, at the end of it, if I've got any problems, I'll talk you through it. Okay, so the next problem we've got, obviously we've done this very nicely. We've got the blades, it's all looking there. We've got the orange on the back, which we know it runs up to that part. So we've got no problem with that at all. That's all glued in place and ready to go. Now the next thing you've got is obviously the spin up. Now, for this one, obviously we've got the sort of the B effect, where you've basically got a black nose, yellow stripe, black band, and then yellow again. So it's like a sort of the B effect, which obviously is going to mix in with obviously the checker pattern, which is on the nose. So what we're going to do, lots of different ways of doing it. Some people literally will mask up, others will freehand paint it and spin it, you know, all little things. Very easiest way I find to do it, if you use a product, this is jammy tape. Basically what we're talking here, this is very, very thin masking tape. The beauty about this is 1 mil thick. What you can actually do, it curves a lot better. Obviously, if we're going to use our standard type of thing perhaps you've got at the moment, which would be like a 6 mil Tamiya tape, when you're trying to do a curve, obviously it wrinkles up. As soon as you get wrinkles, you're going to get, you know, sort of imperfections and bits and pieces like that. So if you're using a thinner tape like I do here, you can literally push it all the way around, run it all the way around, and get it all right, and you can spin it on a cocktail stick and see if it looks okay and do it like that. There is other ways of doing it, I know. I know a lot of people, they're actually can get a mask, and literally they'll cut a cardboard sleeve over it and it slides down to that point and you can spray it. But I need to get a very nice sharp sort of line running all the way around. Sometimes also, like this one actually does come in the kit with decals which will fit on the nose. Trouble with them, usually getting them to look right and line up right is always very hard on curved surfaces. It's a bit like doing tails on aircraft around, especially sort of Spitfires, Hurricanes, that type of thing. The trouble with it is trying to get them to curve around and not to pinch. Bit of a nightmare. So I'm going to use the 6 mil. Now we know for a fact that obviously looking at the measurements on this, they're roughly about 5 millimeters apart. So what I'm going to do, just going to take some tape. I've got some here 6 mil Tamiya tape. Okay, I'm just going to mark it up. I'm going to put it on the edge. For the moment, I'm just going to wrap this around the edge. Okay, this is nothing that's going to stay on. So literally just poking it around like this. Okay. Right. Okay. Then what we're going to do, we're just going to pinch that down into position just for the moment. And obviously if we were to do it normal marking, you're going to get little steps and squares as you go around all the way around, so that's not what we do. So now we take our jammy tape and we take a nice lump of it like that. Okay, and then we're going to butt it right up to that line that's running round and pick out, don't go to where you've got a crease, pick it out from a normal area in the middle. Okay, and then we're just going to walk it round the outside of the one that's on there at the moment. And we're just going to get all the way around and then back to the start. Okay, and then what we'll do, we're just going to hold it like that and we're just going to run our excess tape that we've got, because we've got too much. We're just going to run it round to make it double thick. Just like that. Okay, and we're just running around. Then what we're going to do, we're going to go back and we're going to peel off the stuff we put down to start with. Okay, so that's like that. We'll just move that up there. Then what we want to do, to see if that's any good, get yourself a cocktail stick, screwdriver, anything you want to do. I've got a lump of plasticine, or sort of, you know, our masking type stuff in the back there. Okay, into the middle, and then spin it around on your finger, and you just want it to make it look, you know, obviously you're not going to get it dead perfect, but you want it to be a nice sort of even band all the way around, and that's not too bad at all. So I'm quite happy with that. So then we come along with our tape again. Okay, and then we're just going to put it this time to the inside edge of the actual tape, like that, as you can see. Okay, and we're just going to run it around the bottom so we can see a little bit of blue at the bottom. Same thing, just going around and around, just like that. Okay, then we're just going to pinch it up to the top. Okay, and this will give us our marker then for doing the top one. Obviously we're not going to need a great deal running around the top. So all we're going to do, come along, tape again. Now you could do this literally just by eyesight, but having a small sort of guide there, it does help. But this thin tape really does work well. And then once you're around just like that, what we're going to do is take off our old tape just around like that, and then this one obviously we can bring it around. Okay, and then we can just take it down across the actual, like that, crimp that all to the top, and then what we're going to do, we're literally just going to mask up now the inside area just like that, and then hopefully when we unmask we'll get left with the nice yellow band in the middle, so it'll go black, it will go from the tip, go black, yellow, black, and then this one down here will be the next yellow one, and that will give us our thing, and then hopefully we'll all be nice and straight. Remember, a nice little tip, if you're looking at it and think, well, that doesn't look quite right, if you just put your nail and just push slightly up, you can nudge it into the shape you want. The areas you want to look for that to make sure they're okay is obviously the start and ends. You need them to all line up. So what you can do, you can use a little bit of the 6mm that we've got here, and then obviously just make sure you don't over go too far. But you see, if you was to try and roll this one round a 6mm, it would be a real pain. Okay, so what we've got, flat black, just in the airbrush, neat as we normally do it. We're happy with the way it is, and all we're going to do is spray right over absolutely everything. Keeping it quite dry, obviously 90 degrees straight down and on. Cut into air, just going to dry off. Okay. Back into paint. Remember to do the inside ring as well, just like so. Spinning it round. There we go. Okay, we'll just let that dry for a moment. Okay, so it's just sprayed, so we're going to have to be a little bit careful. So finding the end. What we're going to do, just pull that one off. And then that one. You say carefully finding the end because we don't want to scratch the paintwork. One there, and then find the other end. A tiny little bit of overspray got through, unfortunately, which is round there, which isn't perfect, but what we can do, we can probably just very lightly sand those out, which are a bit of a pain, but it's not a mistake, can't go around. And at the top it's a little bit chunky, so we could use a very fine brush and just join it in slightly round there. But to give you an idea of what we've tried to achieve, if we pop it onto here, carefully sliding this on, if it's gone well, we should look something like that, which gives us our very nice spinner done exactly how we wanted it, which is done like that. So it gives us our nice 3 bands, so you can see it just like that. Not a problem at all.